What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back. Happy New Year to everyone out there. This is my first COMC video of 2023. In fact, my first video of 2023. I've had a crazy month of December that has limited my time for YouTube, both as a content consumer and content creator, with a few personal things going on. I had the flu at one point, and then also, unfortunately, had a pipe burst in my office building. Thankfully, the cards were not damaged that I had stored there, but just kind of dealing with the aftermath of that. So I'm currently not in my office, but hopefully here within the next day or so, I can go ahead and get back in there. So apologies if things sound a little funny today. I am not working with all of my equipment, but the show must go on. Today we're going to look back at December 2022, how I did sales wise, and also kind of recap how I did in the first year that I was on COMC. Of course, only about 4 months of that year was I actually active. And then we'll look ahead to 2023. Seems appropriate here as we start off the new year. One of the things right away that I'm going to talk about is that I finally had some cards uploaded to the site. I cannot tell you how excited I was when I got the email saying that there had been a partial deposit in your account, meaning that there were some cards waiting for me to price and put out. And that is definitely reflected, as you'll see here on the right hand side, in my numbers. If you'll recall to last month's video, you'll know that the number of cards in my inventory is pretty much doubled, as well as about a 50% markup in my total asking price. And I was able to do all of that while keeping my available store credit about the same. One of the things with sending in these cards to be processed at COMC is to make the processing fees covered by my sales and my flips on these sites so that I don't have to add any funds from my into my COMC account to increase my bankroll just to cover processing fees. It's supposed to be self-sustaining. I figured that within the first couple of submissions, if I had to toss down $100 here or there to cover those processing fees, so be it. But so far, that hasn't been the case. You'll see that this one is about 90% processed. I would guess that this submission here, that is another 500 card one, given that it was due a week after, will probably also start to trickle in here over the next week or so. And it will take another 250 to cover this. So right now, I'm kind of on track with where I need to be in order to cover all of those processing fees. And again, that just adds more cards to my inventory. And if those are covered, that just means that I get to take home more of the profit without having to add to my bankroll. So very happy about that. Show you overall my seller stats here. You'll be able to see some of those cards that I've already sold. We go month by month breakdown here. In December, you'll see that I had $821 in sales. So definitely a higher volume of more expensive cards being sold. My average price in November, $4.84 a card, about the same number of cards sold in December, but closer to $8.21. There are definitely some statistical outliers in that, and you'll see that here as I start by the highest sale price, starting off with this Tatis card that is more than triple what my next highest card had sold for. And I typically try to avoid cards like this, but I decided to be a bit more aggressive in pursuing this card right here. If you see up at the top, my current store credit, I kind of use that term interchangeably with bankroll, is that it's $215.42. So if I had purchased this card right now for this price, it would eat up about 70% of what I had available to me. And that to me kind of screams putting all your eggs in one basket. I will typically try to avoid doing that because if this card were to dip significantly, then that would set myself up in a very unfavorable position. I'm very much a risk adverse person and a lot of the things that I do in life. So that kind of is translated over into the card game. But I decided that this was too good of an opportunity to pass up. I shot an offer to a seller who had this up and was very surprised that they took it. And sure enough, within the same day, it sold to someone else who I think was also trying to resell it. So I went from 135 to 150, 124. Is this the craziest margin at $16.24 profit? No. but it's still a 10% increase on a card that I probably had for maybe a couple hours at most in my portfolio. I'll definitely take that, but you probably won't be seeing me buying too many of these cards right now. As I scale things up more and more, then you'll see me pursue more and more stuff like this. But I'm kind of going back to the basics and buying the cheaper stuff, kind of like how I did when I was first buying uh, cards for inventory back in 2019 when I was selling cards full time in the beginning. Here's a Brock Lesnar Gold Prism relic card that was a number to 10 here. I do follow the gold prisms for all of Panini's offerings out there across all of the different sports. So when I saw this one, I just thought, that's a name that seems a little bit too cheap at 37.50, and based on the price that I got for it, that would indicate that it was, again, just a little too cheap. Quite literally, I got 48.45 on that. So again, is this huge crazy markup where I doubled my money? No, but I was still able to take a chunk here and turn a profit. So I'm happy with that, and only had the card for a few days. Here's some more that are, I guess, the higher percentage yield flips here for those who might like those. I saw this Denny McLean high number from 66 tops, one of the toughest top sets in acquiring some of those high numbers when I was doing my Tigers Ultimate Team set. This was one of the cards that was the most challenging to pick up. You see, I saw it for $8. I bought that immediately. I could not click buy now fast enough because if I had seen this card for $8 back when I was trying to build the set, I would have bought it, no hesitation, didn't matter what it looked like. And this one actually presents pretty decently here. Sold it the same day to an eBay buyer. Could I have gotten more for this one? Yeah, probably. In fact, this is less than what I paid for the copy that I bought at the 2019 National. But again, I was into it for $8. So give someone else a deal, pass it along, and take my profit and move along. So same thing here with this Antonio Daniels, up from 12 to 33.01 after fees. I do like picking up these Topps basketball blacks, especially the 2009 ones. Had pretty good success with some of the flagship parallels, especially the golds and the blacks across all sports here in the first few months that I've been back. Here's a Devers from Gypsy Queen number to 50. A lot of these Gypsy Queen parallels don't really do all that well on the secondary market. Doesn't matter what year it is. Um, it's just one of those brands that seems to get lost in the shuffle as the year goes on, since it's a more so springtime release when there isn't too many products out for the current rookie class and all that. But at $20, I felt like this one was maybe a bit too cheap. I was able to sell it up to 32.10, so not too bad there. Another set where I will definitely take a flyer on it if it seems reasonable is the 2020 Finest Flashback set. Gold refractor here. These are one per box. Max Scherzer number to 50 at $16. Went ahead and scooped it up. Was able to move it a couple months later here for 28.26. Here's a nice Roger Maris 68 tops. I bought this one at the end of November. I figured that when Judge won MVP, I kind of assumed he was going to win it. That maybe it would continue to bring some more attention to what Maris had previously done for setting the AL home run mark. And maybe that wasn't the case, but nonetheless was able to go from 14 to 27.55 on this one. And then really from here, you'll see a lot of doubling up after this point. There's a few more that I'll point out here, but going back to kind of my bread and butter of doubling up on things. Here is one here that's a better one. Extended set from 2020 Finest Undertaker. I've had mixed results with these extended set SPs from both baseball and wrestling. This is actually the first wrestling one that I've tried. I just know that in baseball, if you get the right player, some of them actually command a bit of a premium. It's not all of them that will sell for a lot relative to what a base or a base SP would be. But Undertaker here, I thought, that's a pretty decent name on this checklist. I will take a flyer at 374, and sure enough, sold it a couple days later up to 1686. This one here was just a no-brainer to me. Image variation from Topps Chrome. These are not the easiest pulls. In fact, I think they're a little bit tougher than a Topps flagship image variation. They've certainly gotten easier over the years. They aren't as tough as they were back in say 2013, 2014. But for less than the cost of a hobby pack, I just knew that was way too cheap. And you'll see here, same day was able to move it up to 1501. Then the last couple that I will point out here, Carmelo Anthony. This is one where I actually saw it and recently added and noticed that they were first editions, but they were labeled as base. So I was able to scoop those up, got them corrected as first editions, and then was able to move them from 5 to 1401 to the same buyer. If I keep scrolling down, you'll see more of me just kind of doubling up, going from $2 to $4 or $4 to $8. So just kind of continuing what I've been doing on that front and continuing that strategy where really I'm looking to double up on most things that I end up purchasing. In terms of purchases, again, it's I don't think I bought anything crazy. I guess we'll see here. You'll see that's what I've spent on cards for my inventory in 2022. We'll sort by highest price here. Again, I can't sort by what I bought month by month, but all of these cards here you'll see were ones that I actually have already had or I have previously sold. So nothing in that first stack there. And if I'm looking here again, I guess this Ozzy Albies that I bought on December 1st for 29.74 is one of the newer ones here. I just figured an Albies rookie number 25. The Topps minis don't command the craziest secondary market premium, but I decided I would take a chance on it. I did buy a port out that had some like $10 to $20 cards in it. So far, it's been a bit mixed results with it. I'm not pleased with what I ended up paying for the port. I probably wouldn't do it again if I was able to get a do-over, but try to make the most out of it now. Sometimes you just make bad decisions, and that one I wouldn't say was a bad decision, but so far it hasn't been as good of a decision as I had hoped it would have been, if that makes sense. Here's a Sean Alexander Optic Gold Prism. I might have overpaid a bit for this, but again, I just like these golds. So sometimes if I see them and they're cheap enough of a player that I like, I will just hang on to them. There's a Judge White Sparkle here as well, one that hopefully I can do pretty well with. And then outside of that, I'm not really seeing too much that I can recall that I paid a lot for. You'll see more stuff here in that like $10 to $20 range that I had purchased in December. But other than that, not really too much high dollar stuff. A lot of it has been, trying to turn $2 into $4 or trying to turn $4 into $8 type of deals. So are those the craziest cards that you will see that are gonna bring all the attention? No, but it's pretty much what I was doing with eBay, with finding stuff in value boxes and being able to now translate that onto COMC. So far, it's worked out extremely well. I'm definitely happy that I decided to jump back into this and to show you, I guess, my seller stats from last year as well as what we're looking ahead to this year. You'll see that in 2022 was able to do $2,866.66 or 6 cents, I should say, in gross sales, with 533 cards sold. And I would say at least 500 of those were ones that were just purchased on the site, since only the last few days of the year was I working with any inventory that I personally had uploaded myself. And I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with this number. I didn't know exactly what it was gonna look like when I first got back into it. I was mostly just kind of playing around and seeing how far I can go. So these first few months here to end out 2022 were more so experimental. And now in 2023, I kind of have more of an idea of how I want to scale things up and kind of where I want to see things going and how much I should be putting into my inventory at a time, how much I should be uh, trying to add in terms of sending stuff in. And ultimately, my goal for 2023 is to get 10,000 in gross sales. Why did I come up with that number? Well, if you extrapolated this out, say that we'll round up to 4 full months that I was doing this, that would bring me around 8,500 of gross sales if I was able to copy these same results in the first and second thirds of 2022. And I think upping that level to 10,000 is definitely realistic for the new year, especially considering that I would be able to add more cards of my own that will be uploaded here. So I will have that advantage. We'll have a bit more of a bankroll to play around with as well. And I just have a better sense of what works and what doesn't. Kind of going into it, there are some things that are a bit different than eBay that didn't necessarily translate over, or things that I got to do a little bit differently, or things that maybe were opportunities that I now have that I wouldn't have had on eBay. And I could bore you with the details of what that might entail, but I will save that for a different time if anyone is curious about that, or if you ever want to chat privately with me, any of my socials, let me know. I can kind of go into more detail if you're ever curious on that. But yeah, the idea is 10,000 in gross sales for 2022 or 2023, I should say. Still getting used to that. Uh, and really, I think I should shatter that goal as well. If I am barely scraping by, it will actually be, I guess, somewhat of a letdown. I guess setting a goal should be a goal that I'm happy with. But roughly that would translate out to, I guess, $27.40 per day in terms of gross sales, which is significantly less than what I was doing on eBay with a lot of these cheaper cards to begin with. If you look at what my gross sales were on there when I was doing the standard envelope shipping, but this is not going to be my primary source of income. It's still going to be the high dollar cards that are the ones that are uh, they're getting the bills paid for me, the ones that aren't getting sent off the COMC, the ones that I am holding on to and selling through eBay or through other means. But this is definitely some more passive income for the most part, aside from the flipping element that I am looking to build up here in 2023. So I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about what's coming up, especially again, if I go back to my home screen here, where you'll see the batches. This 500 card batch here was one that contains a lot of cards that I made some really good value box finds on back in mid-September at a card show. And kind of knowing that for the past 4 months now, I've been getting stuff ready to send in and sending stuff in that I thought would do well from my eBay store, and then also going into these shows. And I've kind of been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now finally that they're hitting the store, I'm actually going to get to see the results. Is very exciting. I'm not really afraid of failure in this case. I'm very confident in being able to identify things that would sell well on the platform. But of course, some mistakes will be made. I made some mistakes with some of the stuff I sent in the first batch, not paying too close of attention to what was currently listed on the site. So there will be some things that inevitably sell for less than the 50-cent processing fee. But hey, lessons learned there. And as long as I learn something from some of the mistakes, then in my book, they still have plenty of value to me. I'm going to make mistakes regardless, or do things that aren't as efficient as I might like them to be. But as long as I am learning from them, I think that this has the chance to blow up, and I can become up there with some of the top sellers there on COMC. So excited to see what the year brings. Hopefully, we can look back on this video this time next year, and it will be a bunch of positives, and we'll see tremendous growth. But thank you for coming along on the journey with me. It is a very exciting time, and I can't wait to show you guys more of what is in store. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and be kind.